Goodbye, AutoBuzz! Malaysia! What's up guys? So, I'm in the Audi Q2 now. The all-new Audi Q2 now. Audi has organized the drive for us to go up to Genting. There are a few different models, the Q3, the Q5, the Q2, the Q8 of course, but I think the focus will be on Q2 and Q8. In all my previous videos, you guys have been asking, where's GCMA, where's GCMA, where's GCMA? So we finally decided to set him free from our dungeon. And guess what? He's here!
Hello! Yes!
Oh, actually this is GCMA's distant cousin.
Yeah.
MC Gah.
Yeah, from Sri Lanka.
Okay. Before we set off, we're stopped by the side of Kara. What's your first impressions, man, of the car?
It looks really good. It looks really good with the red accents and...
Yeah, so this is the sport package. The sport package Audi Q2 that we have. So it's got a few interesting trims. Compared to the base model, this one does come with sportier, more aggressive bumpers. But I think the main thing to see is if it's still an Audi, because it's sort of like a base model, entry-level Audi. Does it still have that essence of the Audi? Like for example, the touch of the buttons. Still very stiff, clunky.
The buttons are different from those in the 7 and the 5, I think.
Definitely.
These are the more, less refined, I would say, buttons. Yeah. Because those in the Q7...
silver, the aluminium looking...
Yeah, and it has the touch sensitive feature where it will...
Okay, right. It will sort of enlarge as you approach the button.
Correct. And this car comes with the virtual cockpit, which is nice.
Yeah.
Audi virtual cockpit. We saw there's another Q2 with the Singaporean spec, which is a lower spec without the
you
red
can
trim.
See
this
difference.
one is a lot better.
Definitely a lot better looking. Definitely a lot better looking. That one actually looks like the base model of the base model. So one thing you immediately notice missing, as GCMA pointed out earlier, the lack of pedal shifters.
I cannot live without
I think especially in a car like that, right? It's not so, I mean, partly for the sporty feel, but then...
I think I did mention it before in one of my videos. It is like a safety feature already, where you need to slow down as you approach a corner, and then you want to slow down a bit more. You just make full use of the engine braking by putting the gears down. Right. And yeah, it's a must to have for myself. But of course, city driving and all that, you have it or not, it's fine. So like the buttons and all, still very Audi. The display also very Audi. The layout of the controls, the buttons. Here's my little problem with the car though. The first thing I noticed when I got into it, nice soft touch materials on the dashboard. Oh, auto stop start came on very smoothly. You do not feel it at all, except for the fact that you will hear the engine coming on. But yeah, not very Audi, man. I mean, I know it's the sort of entry-level Audi in the sense that it's the baby Audi, the Q2, but this is not Audi, man, you know. Audi owners will be cursing and swearing over this, but then again, they'll probably be in their Q7s and Q8s. This is for their daughters maybe to go to college. But I have to say, this is a huge step up from the previous Q3. The previous Q3, the build quality, the design and all that is really not there. It's not really Audi. Okay. But this one it's getting there, except for the door panel. I guess because it's not an important touch point where it has to be of a nice premium material. Yeah, but I suppose for the people that are buying these cars nowadays, the ones that they look into are the display, digital instrument cluster. Yeah. You know, the sporty trims, and this car has it all. So I guess there's an offset. Can't have it all, I guess. Yeah. And especially at a price of what, 210, 220? Yeah, around that. Can't expect much, Just go look at the competitors, maybe the GLA 200, which this one competes against, the X1. The GLA 200, man, I'm not sure if you can even get this sort of
presentation, for the lack of a better word. So this is the one that we're going to be getting, the 1.4 TFSI. You have about 150 horsepower, 250 Newton meters, 0 to 100 in about what? 8 seconds?
8-ish, I think.
So that rivals the Golf TSI R-Line, which obviously this is based on as well because this is built on the MQB platform.
Yeah, 8.5.
8.5, wow.
Not the fastest car out there, but
good enough, I guess.
Yeah.
8 seconds, still really quick, man.
It can be quite sprightly, the car.
Also, we're in dynamic mode now. Dynamic, right? Dynamic.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're in dynamic and plus sport. Steering feels very nicely weighted. In fact, I feel like for such a car, the steering feel is sportier than it should, if it makes any sense. And it being a 7-speed dual clutch, it performs in the way that you expect a dual clutch transmission to perform.
Yeah.
Very smooth, seamless,
and really quick as well. The seats are very comfortable.
Oh yeah, you get these sort of sport-like seats.
And it's very solid as well. They're not stingy when it comes to material. The back seats as well, they look really comfortable. If you want to compare with the XC40, I think the XC40 one is a bit more upright than like what Adrian said, the thigh support is not there. But this one is pretty good.
Wow.
Nice.
Handles very well.
Yeah. What about the exterior? Do you like the looks?
If I'm very honest, not really. Not really. If I'm very honest, the fact that it comes with the sport tag makes it look a bit more bearable.
I think it has to come in the S-Line kit.
Yeah.
So I remember I saw one in Monaco last year, I think. It looks really good with the kit and all. Here it's a bit bare. It's a city car. It's a city car looking and not that sporty looking. But maybe after a while. I like how the indicators go, the progressive, what do you call it?
Right.
Is it called progressive indicator?
I think it's progressive,
yeah.
But then again, I mean, Audi cars being Audi cars, as you guys have known, I mean, their prices have never been haven't exactly been competitive. And now, with them being competitive, I feel like you can't expect to have too much as well. It doesn't exactly feel bare in terms of features and equipment, but I mean, for 210 or 220, I feel like the equipment list sort of matches the price.
Yeah. And they're finally back. They've been quiet for a while. Audi Malaysia is now handled by Audi Singapore, and they're now back with us new lineup of Q cars, which has been long overdue, especially the Q5. So with this Q2 and Q8, it's going to be very interesting with interesting pricing as well.
It's good, it's good. It's nice to have a variation, man. Like, I think we have all spent too long looking out at too many GLAs and X1s. No disrespect to them, good cars, but I don't know, man. It's nice to just see a variation, I guess, on the road.
There's just something about Audi for myself. I personally think that whenever you get into an Audi, right, especially the higher range ones like the Q7, A6 or even A8, the build quality is really something else. If you are so used to Mercedes-Benz, BMW, once you get into an Audi, you know they spend a lot of time designing the interior.
The refinement, man.
Correct. And the material that they use is actually very high end. But when it comes to the entry level car, there is a bit of a compromise here and there. It's got to do with the pricing, I suppose.
I guess it has to be also, I mean, it's the distinction, right? You know, it's the distinction Q2, Q7.
Yeah, you can't have like a shrink down.
Even if you can, the pricing, I would imagine, it would be ridiculous, man. And then, you know, you guys will have your pitchforks and torches complaining about it. But, man, I must say, the steering feel through the corners is quite something, man. Oh, yeah. I wish there's an option to be seated a little lower, and also in that sense, it's manual adjustable seats.
Yeah, you have to do all the...
Yeah, that's not very cool.
Yeah.
What do you think about the wind noise, cabin noise.
It's not too
Okay,
bad.
right?
It's not too bad.
Tire rolling noise as well is quite good. I mean,
Yep.
very minimal. You don't hear much of it.
Yep.
Very nice driving position. I mean, I haven't exactly been in a lot of Audis. The current generation A4, the B9, I absolutely love it, man. You know, it drives well. There's something about the ergonomics of the Audis. I feel like they feel very nicely positioned as a driver.
Yeah.
Everything is within reach. Yeah, it's just sad lah that, you know, in terms of pricing they haven't exactly been competitive enough. But I love them, man. Like I like how Audis are. I'm a massive BMW person.
Obviously.
Yeah. I'm a massive BMW guy. I would never complain about how the car looks, especially on the inside, like most people. The Audi is another one that I'm really a big fan of. So you can tell these guys have their own characters. You know, Mercedes, a lot of flair. BMW, very understated. This one, or maybe Audis in general, I think they are a good mix. It's a nice balance between flair and understatedness.
Correct. That's what I like about them.
It would be nice if I could be seated a little lower some more. Yeah. But then again, that's not for everyone. I notice not many people sit like I do. For me, every time I get into a test car, I'll just put the seat into the lowest position, man. Not like that lah. Not like that lah. More of like a GT driver lah, you know.
GT driver.
All I see is just above the steering wheel, you know. I just need to see where the next corner is coming up. But yeah, I guess this being a Q2 and all, that's how it is. Okay guys, so we've just turned off the Kara highway. We're on some really narrow, rather bumpy back roads. I guess the Q2 is the appropriate car to be in. I wouldn't want to be in the Q8, man. It must be a nightmare. Just trying to keep the car within the lane alone would be a challenge, let alone actually enjoy the car. And speaking of enjoyment, man, am I enjoying myself behind the wheel of this Q2? Yeah, I'd say. Feels very direct, absorbs the road undulations quite well. It isn't exactly stiff, although we're in dynamic mode.
So just to be clear, I'm just here like a spot check lah, you know, see how this fella is doing in the media drive and all that. So I'll let the...
Where's your cane? Where's your cane?
Somewhere in my bag. Yeah, I'll let him do the talking and the driving.
Wonder what you guys are going to say in the comment section, man. Now you have GC-Ma, but GC-Ma is not talking. I think that's how we should do the videos next time. Just have you sit next to us.
Yeah.
So that, you know, that answers the question a bit. Where's GC-Ma? At least he's here.
Just please don't unsubscribe our channel. We like to maintain 100k subscribers at the end of the year still.
Stop, bro.